excited. They're going to be here in just a few minutes. Dave, what are you excited for? What else are you excited for this weekend?
Oh wow! I was saying there's so many panels. I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing next.
What are you going to
okay. No, I will say I am a huge Walking Dead fan.
Yeah, we got any Walking Dead fans in here? Perfect.
And I found out that we're going to be in Madison Square Garden in a couple of days, which is going to be great fun.
Saturday, the Saturday panel.
Really excited for that.
Awesome, that'll be really fun. Anybody planning on being at the Saturday Walking Dead panel? Fantastic. Let's all camp out together.
After this finishes, go camp out.
Yeah, go camp out. Go camp out starting now. No, it'll be great. We were there last year as well, and it's just a ridiculous panel. When you walk into a room, when you walk into Madison Square Garden, and then you see 30 chairs basically set up, it's a pretty incredible feeling knowing that they'll all be there. So the empty chairs is always one of the things I love the most about this, and seeing them all means that there's going to be a whole lot of important, awesome people that we want to see on the stage pretty soon. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But the way I'd like to get you warmed up, because when they come out, they want to make sure that the audience is warm, that they are excited, and that they feel welcome. It makes your panel better, it makes people better, it makes them all excited. So the way we want to do that, what I want to do is make sure that you are awake and you're ready. So, because they are just coming in now, so that means they can hear you. So I want to hear all the ladies first. 1, 2, 3, ladies! Pretty good, pretty good.
Hold on.
We
can do better, guys. Okay, I think there's a few guys out there. We can do this, okay, fellas? Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's this guttural.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of cavemen. You just let them loose. All
right.
I don't know. It's kind of into it. All right. I mean, what? Ladies, one more time. Let me hear the men. Let me try this. Let me hear the men sounding like ladies. Okay,
that was wonderful.
That was something. What I really want to hear, let me hear the ladies sounding like men.
Oh, we're dumb.
Just like the most basic thing. I love it so much. Fantastic, you guys are great. Let me hear everybody one more time. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Then, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce your moderator, folks. From Den of Geek, it's Michael
Alright guys, how perfectly timed is this panel with the premiere? You guys excited? The day is finally here, it's tomorrow, and I'm sure you guys already know it. I hope you're not going to be spoiling yourself by watching this premiere here, but just in case, The Man in the High Castle, the prime original series based on Philip K. Dick's dystopian alternate history novel that imagines a world where Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan have won World War II and rule over the former United States, returns tomorrow for a thrilling and much anticipated third season. We can't wait, right? It's a good one, it's a good one. And just a little teaser before we get into it, Season 3 will be the series' most intriguing and titillating season yet, with the Greater Nazi Reich and the Japanese Empire and the Resistance all vying for the fate of humanity. And Resistance will be bringing a message of hope, some political espionage and sabotage, and I'm happy to report more about the underground films will be introduced in this upcoming season. So get ready for some parallel universe action. And Juliana uncovers a dangerous Nazi plan for ultimate supremacy. And then the question becomes, can she convince others to join her in stopping it? Or is it already too late? And though recently celebrated by Himmler, John Smith finds that the dangers to his family continue as the Greater Nazi Reich takes retaliatory measures toward the Japanese Pacific states, tensions rise, and Tagomi tries to broker peace while a haunted Kido searches for old enemies. So to celebrate the launch of Season 3 tomorrow, we're going to be giving you an exclusive early screening of the first episode of the new season. Yes. It's a doozy. And afterwards, we will chat with the creative minds and cast behind the Emmy Award-winning series, who are here to talk about the episode and the evolution of the stories this season. But before we start, we want to make sure that you're following the series on social. You can see here up that Facebook is High Castle Amazon, Twitter is High Castle TV, They're on Instagram as well as High Castle Amazon. And if you are tweeting about the show or Instagramming, please use the hashtag HighCastle, because the man in the High Castle, just a little bit too long. Hashtag HighCastle or hashtag Resistance Rises, which I'm sure you've been seeing all during the hiatus. So, ready for some intros? Yep. All right.
It's the second one.
So here we go. Introducing some of the creative talent behind the show. David Zucker, executive producer. And we also have Issa Dick Hackett here, daughter of Philip K. Dick, of course. The inspiration behind the show, executive producer as well. We also have with us here star Alexa Davalos as Juliana Crane. And of course, the only person who's hoping that no one is here cosplaying as him, Rufus Sewell as John Smith. His lovely wife in the show, Helen, is played by Chelah Horsdal. She's here as well. And last but not least, Joel De La Fuente, Inspector Kido. All right, and now we're going to cue up the episode for you guys to enjoy. I hope you like it, and feel free to tweet with those hashtags during the episode. I hope you like it. Right now, met them a little earlier. We waving from the side seats over here. Let's start with executive producer David Zucker. Next we have Issa Dick Hackett, executive producer. You know her as Juliana Crane, Alexa Davalos. Of all the Oberstgruppenführers, he's the Oberstest. It's Rufus Sewell. The lovely Helen Smith, Chelah Horsdal. And he's bringing back John Lennon glasses. It's Joel De La Fuente, Inspector Kido. Welcome everybody to this wonderful panel, and you can see we have a lot of fans out here. So we have to go down the line here and just ask you, between all these new settings that we saw, the 6-month time jump, some new political tensions, of course, what is the hook of this episode, and then how do you think fans will react to the season at large?
We're going down the line. You got it start.
I passed.
This is what happens. It sort of sets up so many aspects of what's to come as far as these films and better understanding where they come from and how they affect all of us independently and as a whole. It's a really wild ride, and Juliana starts to have all of these kind of, I don't know, connections ultimately to all these films, and it really kind of propels us into a whole different realm, I think. Sorry.
I think she answered it very well.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Anyone down at the end there want to feel it? What's the big hook? What's the thing that's going to draw people in this season, if you had to sell it to them?
From this into the season? Well, I mean, I hope the precarious position that we find a lot of our characters in trying to figure out how they're going to write themselves, and if they can write themselves. This is a really sensitive microphone, you guys. Yeah, but in terms of for us, I love where we're starting so desperately far apart, and hopefully you'll get to see us journey back together if possible.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's been very much a story of the chickens coming home to roost, really, for decisions that were made a long time ago, and the repercussions that the beast that we kind of chained ourselves to is beginning to turn around and ask for something back in repayment. And what we're being rewarded for something terrible that has happened in the past, and as our family ascends in society and in my career, the opposite is happening internally and our relationships. So it's two journeys going in the opposite direction. That's the story for us, really, for this season.
What's the big Pacific States hook?
Well, as a viewer tonight, what really struck me was, one, how just vast the world is. I mean, and we're talking, you know, it's really great to see the neutral zone portrayed this way, and just the design of it and the depth of it. And we're gonna spend a lot more time in Denver this year, and I think that'll be exciting. And also just sort of the state of disarray that the Pacific States is in, and the sort of quandary they find themselves in sort of chasing the Reich and in sort of engaging in a Cold War where it's frostily polite, but there's all these things sort of, all these tensions brimming underneath that are going to come to the surface.
We'll certainly see a lot more of the resistance, a more capable resistance. He was talking about the neutral zone, and we'll see lots of activities. But the notion of resistance in this season encompasses a lot of different forms. You know, artistic and, you know, overtly political, but all sorts. So we've made a conscious decision at the beginning of the season to really drill down and kind of express that in different ways.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because of course with your father having inspired the original story here, how far have we gotten away from the original source material, but what's still in there for season 3?
Well, we haven't gotten away from the spirit of it, of course. You know, it's an anti-fascist novel. That's what he set out to write about. That was his preoccupation and his fear, lifelong fear. So we carry that with us. We actually, this season, took 2 chapters from a sequel that he was writing to the novel, which most people haven't seen and don't know about. And there was a big idea in those 2 chapters that we've utilized in season 3. So you'll see more, you know, direct Philip K. Dick infusion.
Well, and it's interesting too that we started out very dark, perhaps people might say, in season 1, and it sometimes can be considered a very oppressive world. But do you think, David, that there might be a little bit of hope ingrained in season 3?
I think that's what this season embraces. I mean, I think with the rise of the resistance that we're drilling into and exploring in a way that, especially given how the series began, it was so fractured, it seemed that it was ultimately destroyed. So I think seeing both what inspires that, where those inspirations both individually and collectively come from, and how the influences even of the alt world begin to directly confront the oppressions they're dealing with. I think that's uniquely characteristic of this season.
Now, each of your characters have what I would say some really notable strengths, but also you each have your own vulnerabilities. So what do you think, if we could go down the line, what do you think is your character's secret weapon, if you will, whether literal or metaphorical, that's going to ensure their survival this season?
In any particular order?
I don't have an answer for that one myself.
As you come up with your answer, you can feel free to chime in.
I've always kind of seen Juliana has this sort of this deep-seated pain and loss and a really profound grieving that is something that has to remain internal. I wonder what they're saying. I'm curious.
Really interesting.
Might be. You never know. She has this deep-seated pain, and I think in order to survive, she has to keep moving. I think that we as human beings, when we really suffer something so profound and traumatic in life, whether, you know, whatever that is, that ultimately sometimes when you sit in that, if you sit still, you may not be able to continue. And I think for Juliana, you know, her survival skill is to propel forward and to use all of that pain and angst and loss as a fuel. And so I think that's her secret weapon.
Yeah, I would say that with John Smith, that actually his secret weapon is probably a surprising one, considering. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I would say that his secret weapon is his great strength is empathy. That actually, what makes him so dangerous he's not a sociopath. He's very good at imagining what people are thinking, imagining what they're feeling, putting himself in their position and working out what their next move would be. And that is something that can be perverted. And that's what Nazism has done to him. But the base instinct that he has, the quality that it starts with, is something neither good nor bad. That he has an ability to read people, to feel their feelings, and to tactically, you could just as easily tactically use that empathy to make people happy, but I think that's what makes him so formidable.
Now, Chelah, you probably have a more challenging way to characterize Helen's strength because she is so vulnerable. What do you think is her secret weapon?
I actually think that she's incredibly strong, and her love of her daughters and the deep need to protect them. It's her greatest weakness and it's her greatest strength. And her dependency on pills, which we've established in the last couple of seasons, and a little bit too much alcohol now, I think, undermines her strength. But I'm hoping that we see this journey of the season of her returning to that power that she has as a mama bear and a lion.
And I think people probably underestimate her support of John sometimes as well. She does support him quite a bit.
Yeah, she's, I think, been incredibly supportive of him, and they've made a really great team for the last 18 years. This is the first time that we're seeing fractures the way that is indicative. Hopefully you're able to see it in this one. But certainly throughout the season, you see this chasm that is between the two of them, not because both of them aren't grieving, but because they're grieving in completely different ways. And I'm allowed to grieve, I think, a little bit more than John is.
And Joel, your character is sometimes dealing with not as much information as everyone else. So how does he get through it, and how does he find strength as he investigates what's really going on?
His superpower is probably his force of will, that he can have a single-mindedness that helps him surmount certain things, or he's able to sort of weed out the things that he prioritizes less in his pursuit of a goal. And so in that sense, he's a very formidable person. His weakness, I think, is where his personal sense of principle and honor begins to come into conflict with the things that he has to do, which I don't think has ever been an issue before, but it's always been a surmountable issue, and it starts to sort of become a problem from here on in, I think. But there's no guarantee, while all of these characters have their super strengths, the way that you phrase the question, what will make them survive through all of it, it's still sort of up in the air whether we will survive it.
Okay, well, I know we're very anxious to see the rest of the season with the people who are up here, but actually, believe it or not, season 4 is being filmed right now, correct?
We're shooting now.
You had to fly everybody in from set? I should say Amazon flew everybody in from set.
But the cool thing is there are others that actually might have a surprise message for us. So before we go, we do want to share with you a message for the fans out there from the set of season 4.
Hey, New York Comic Con, what's going on? Sorry some of us can't be with you there today to share the excitement of Season 3's launch. As you know, we are currently shooting Season 4, where resistance becomes rebellion with a whole new faction of fighters. I want to introduce to you Francis Turner, who plays Belle, and Clay Bennett, who plays Elijah, who are the leaders of a rebel army that's rising up against the Japanese Empire. I'm going to let these guys give you a preview of what to expect from their characters in Season 4.
The Japanese are under attack by another world power. All over the globe and in the Pacific states, the Chinese are backing our army. We're fighting for our freedom and for our land.
We are revolutionaries led by Equiano Hampton, and we're not just here to disrupt or change minds or be a nuisance. We actually have a goal of self-determination, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
Elijah is my comrade, he's my lover, and he is my partner in the fight for the liberation of our people.
That's right, and we are honored to be a part of the ever-expanding world of The Man in the High Castle, and I think I can speak for all three of us when I say that we cannot wait to watch season 3 tomorrow, only on Amazon Prime Video.
Now, of course, your job out there is to get all your friends to watch it, and since Prime Video is actually streaming seasons 1 and 2 right now, they can catch up. Well, they don't have much time to catch up, but they can catch up nonetheless.
Tonight.
As season 3, of course, starts tomorrow, or drops in its entirety, all 10 episodes, on October 5th, only on Amazon Prime Video. So thank you very much, panelists, for joining us today, and fans, I hope you like the Q&A and the episode.
Thank you.